Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of InfoSec Train Tech Talks Real World Decoded. I'm your host Payal Pawar and today we will be talking about the Chief Information Security Officer training and certifications and why is it becoming increasingly important for cybersecurity professionals who want to move into leadership roles. So joining me today is Mr. Rahul Kokcha, a CISO himself with more than 24 years of experience in cybersecurity, governance, and risk management. And during his corporate journey, he has managed an integrated GRC practice globally across 40 plus locations, serving as Information Security Director for a large enterprise. And currently, he is serving as a vCISO and vDPO for multiple organizations. So, welcome to the podcast, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Yes. So, sir, let's get started. So my first question to you is, when people hear the title CISO, they often think of technical security leadership. But in reality, what does the role of a CISO truly look like today?
So in many organizations, when people are working as the most senior one in the security domain, so they might be handling the technical stuff. So they consider themselves as a CISO.
Okay.
The CISO itself is a different skill set, different role, different mindset that one need to have to play that role of a CISO. So in many organizations, when people are head of the security, handling the firewalls, the security solutions like DLP, MDM, EDR, SOC management. So, and if they have no one reporting above them, playing the role of anything to a security management, though sometimes they call themselves as a security manager or security officer as well. So, but the security officer is a different role where we have to align the security with the business objectives. So we have to understand the business. We have to determine what my priorities are, what my business priorities are, how security can enable the business. And if I have that mindset, if I'm playing that role, I'm playing a role at the governance level, not at the management level. There's a difference. So management is more about looking into day-to-day activities and making the operations more effective, while the governance is aligning it with the business requirements. So that's the role, that's a mindset we need to carry as a CISO.
So, sir, I just want to ask the next question. So, how has the CISO role evolved in the last decade, and what are CISOs being held accountable for today that they were not earlier?
So it has taken a lot of time for the industry to realize that CISO is an important role, and it's a role at the level, at C level. And earlier, it used to be IT was also not given that priority because they used to think that IT is only an enabler. It just we had to set up some systems, some applications. So first, establishing IT as it's a board level issue. That was a challenge. And then coming to when it comes to security, because the board is mostly consists of business people, right? They are not technical people. They are not cybersecurity people. So they were giving more priority to first the business. Then they started realizing IT is important for the business. And slowly, as the cyber attacks has increased and it has caused a major damages to the organizations, including like the organization, it is causing the organization to shut down. Right. And having the huge penalties on the imposed on the organizations because of cybersecurity issues. And so this has made some kind of some importance in the mind of the business, the board, that they started realizing that security is also an important aspect that they need to be aware of. When they talk about the business risk, they also need to understand the security risk, because security it's an enabler for the business, but it can also break the business.
So it has evolved a lot.
It has evolved a lot, yes. It has evolved a lot. And now the CISOs are getting that attention, and that because the industry has also matured, and right. People having good 10-15 years of experience in the security domain, they've also evolved to align it with the business, which was missing in the earlier days.
Okay, sir, that was very interesting perspective. So, so my next question would be, like, many cybersecurity professionals who have strong technical expertise, but they are moving into a CISO role and it requires a different mindset. So what are the biggest skill gaps you see when professionals transition into leadership roles?
So first is the business acumen. Mostly people into the security domain, they are coming from the technical backgrounds. And sometimes some people are also into the GRC domain, but they still don't carry that business acumen. So they need to understand that the organization may choose to be non-compliant in certain cases. Fine. If the if the opportunity is very great and the risk of being non-compliant is low. So, but many people don't realize it. So the GRC people are focusing more on the compliance part. They want the things to be always as per the standards that they are following. And the technical security is a huge gap into the, because they don't understand the business, they don't understand the compliances even. They just focus more on that this is a technology and this is something I have to always enable. And if someone is asking for the exception, they simply sometimes deny for the exceptions, and that also causes the disruption in the business. That causes the conflicts in the teams also. So the realization of that the business comes first, and any security controls we are implementing, this is to support the business. That's the first thing that we have to understand, and we have to build that acumen that we are thinking about the business first. Then how I can enable the security, how I can enable the business by maybe tweaking the security controls or maybe giving some exceptions, and determining the risk when they are making any decisions. And if it is really a cost-effective way of implementing certain controls, then only we should opt for the controls. So those are the things that one need to understand. Means moving away from the technological and the compliance mindset and thinking more about how I can save some dollars. That is something what people need to understand to get into this role.
Okay, sir. Very interesting answer. So, sir, based on your 24 years of experience, if someone wants to prepare themselves for a CISO role, so what areas should they start focusing on beyond technical security?
See, cannot be a specific area. They has to understand it entirely. Right? So they need to understand how the security testing works. They also need to understand how security control works. They need to understand how the application security works. And they also need to understand what the compliance requirements are. So if you have all the flavors, you may not know in depth, but if you don't have that basic understanding of these domains, then you are not fit for the role, because you won't be able to do the justice and you will not be able to make the right decisions. So it is important to have the complete view of what all happens in an organization from the IT perspective, from security perspective, and what is my business domain. If I am into the banking domain, what are the risks and challenges we have in this domain? If I am in the manufacturing domain, then there will be a different set of risk and different set of challenges in the manufacturing domain. So we need to understand the business, and we need to know all the domains, and then we have to align all these practices to meet the business objectives. So then you can go for this role. Else you need to understand those things. Means you may be a good SOC manager. You have maybe 10-15 years of experience into the SOC. If you don't understand the application security, if you don't understand the other aspects of the IT, if you don't understand the business itself, because you might be good into firewall, good into security solutions, good into cloud security maybe, but you may not be good into the what this is how this secures maybe in the risk management, into the GRC, and how this what is the value it carries for my business. It has to be complete view. Then only you can play the role of a CISO.
So they need to have all the practical insights.
They need to have the complete practical insights. Yes.
Okay.
And understanding the enterprise, understanding why I am there. And that's the most important thing, because many times CISOs becomes reluctant in giving exceptions. When we have to understand the business comes first. When if there's no business, there's no need of any security.
Okay, sir. That's very interesting. So, sir, moving on to the next question. What kind of practical exposure or training helps professionals build these leadership capabilities? So,
yeah, so there are many programs one can go for, and they're all only pieces. For example, you can go for ISO 27001 certification. Right. You can go for CISSP certification. You can go for CISM. CRISC is also there. Right? So there are many certification programs which are available, but they are all only pieces basically. So CISSP is most comprehensive out of this. So CISSP good. They cover the technology expert as well as the management expert, but they also don't tell you how to build this enterprise security program in a nutshell. So they teach you all the domains, but when it comes to building a program for the enterprise, when you are being hired in that role, that becomes challenging from where to start with. So it has to be a specialized training. It starts with, okay, what will be the first thing you will do in the organization when you join in the role of a CISO, or you're aspiring to become a CISO, then from where you have to start with. So what should be the mindset? What should be your start point? and how you'll progress, and what should be the end goal. So that has to be completely understood to play the role of a CISO.
So, sir, InfoSec Train offers a training certification program for CISO. So, could you please bring a light on that or as well in the answer?
So that's a customized training program. That is a unique one of kind program that we have developed, and that is keeping the mindset of what are the gaps we have in the other training programs. Like we have CISO, we have CISSP, CISM. So we are trying to deliver, we are trying to cover from the end to end, from where the people will start. As I said, we need to understand the organization. It starts with the understanding of organization, fine. And it not only covers the technological and the process aspects of this program, this role. This also covers like how you have to ensure that you don't enter into conflicts with your peers, and if there are some conflicts, how to resolve those conflicts. Because many times it is also seen commonly. See, everyone has their own priorities in the business, right? So IT team has their own priority, HR has their own priority, physical security has their own priority. So how to align your priorities and their priorities together so that we are all not we don't get into the conflict, and at the end we are all trying to support the business, right? So we have to make sure that people have the right mindset, people know how you have to deal with those conflicts, and from where they have to start, what are the ways they can identify that the priority I am thinking from the security perspective, fine, is it the same priority the IT team also having? If not, then how will you convince him? Or if there is a conflict, how will you resolve the conflict? If still there's something is not happening, what is the right way to communicate to the management, communicate to them first, to their reporting manager, and finally to the management. So it covers entirely from where we to start with, understanding the organization, understanding the key stakeholders in the organization, understanding the role of the key stakeholders in the organization, then aligning your security with the business, aligning your security with their domains, because HR, IT, all are important for cybersecurity. And then building the security program, doing the risk assessment, identifying what the right controls are, which standards, which frameworks you will follow, and then how you can build the plan, how you can build an annual calendar that will list down all the activities that you need to follow in the calendar year. That helps the organization in being compliant. If you just follow that calendar, you can always be in compliance, so that you can be audited anytime. Right? So many organizations has a worry that they are doing a lot of things, but whenever there is an audit, they have to like do certain extra activities to make sure that they're through with the audit. So we help them building the program, aligning those controls, aligning those activities in a way that they're always in compliance, and finally they can present it to the management. What is the compliance status? They can set the trends, they can define the trends that we are improving on the security, and this helps the management also having confidence that my team is doing the right thing, and my customers also getting more confidence that yes, I am dealing with the right company.
Okay, sir. So basically, we will be covering all the aspects of this very training, right?
Yes.
Okay, sir. So moving on to the next question, sir, I just want to ask, like, do participants need any specific kind of experience or background in cybersecurity, like before joining this training?
Definitely, security is not as like an entry-level job. When security is a second level, I will say, because you have to understand the IT first. Then only you can build the security. Because if you don't understand how the IT is operating, most of the controls, even if you look at the most common standard, which is ISO 27001,
yes,
it has a 93 controls, and most of them belongs to IT. Right? If you say major portion belongs to IT. Right? So dedicatedly, if I say, like, there are 34 controls which are specifically for the IT itself. So there are other also where the IT has to play an important role. So majorly, the major part is coming from the IT only. So if you don't understand the IT, how you align your security with the IT? Right?
So they must have an IT background.
So
right?
they must understand the controls. Right? So without having that understanding of the controls, they won't be able to build a security program. Definitely. Or they won't be able to align the security program with the IT. They won't be able to align those security controls with the organization objectives as well. So they need to have the understanding of either the ISO 27001 standard, how it works. So they may be having experience in GRC domain. They may be having experience in the technical security domain. Fine, maybe they be working as a SOC manager or SOC engineer. But if they want really an upgrade, fine, and they have that mindset of learning something new from a new perspective, then they can join. But yes, this is not for the freshers. One need to have at least 4 or 5 years of experience in the industry. Then only they can understand the perspective of what we are trying to deliver in this program.
Okay, sir. So, based on your experience, one of the things professionals often look for real-world exposure, and how does practical training help them understand what a CISO really is and it is actually deal within the organizations?
If I talk about this program that we have designed, so this is based on the hands-on and with the case studies. Right? So this is not a theory program. We don't teach theory at all. Right? The theory is maybe in the first day, maybe first 4 hours that you will learn about, okay, what the entire GRC looks like, right? And how do you have to think from the governance perspective. Rest of the entire program is exercise-based. Right? So there are good, I think, 18 to 20 exercises what we deliver in this program. And we set up the breakout rooms where the participant has to think about certain things, they have to solve some challenges, and they have to discuss and resolve some certain issues, right, during this program. So issues in the sense like they've been given some challenges, okay, that if you, for example, if you have to set up the scope of the your enterprise information security program, what are how you identify the requirements, right? So they have been given the case studies, and then they build on the case study. Right? But we are open for the corporate setup, where we also encourage them to bring up or consider their organization as a case study. Right? So it is basically a very flexible program, but we are focused more on the how to carry out those activities. So they get the right competence. They are able to build the right competence in delivering that particular activity, I mean that particular the role that if they have been given that opportunity to build a security program for the organization, from where they will start and how they will progress. So that is the entire idea here, and it is purely practical based workshop, and this is not a kind of a standard theory program where we'll talk about the risk management and all, but yes, everything is covered. So if they have the prior knowledge about risk management, internal audits or the external audits, so that will help them, because otherwise we give them the additional material to learn about it. But in the classroom, it's a very brief understanding of these topics is being covered. It's mostly that program is delivered on the exercises. What they have to build, it is kind of a do-it-yourself program.
Okay, sir. So it basically will be a practical based only.
Completely practical. It's 100% practical.
Right. Okay, sir. I think that would be very, useful for the professionals who are looking into getting this CISO training and certification role. So, sir, before we wrap up, what advice would you give to professionals who are planning to move into this role of CISO?
So, if you have the knowledge of one domain, one or two domains, then you are not fit for the role of a CISO. First, you have to get the complete perspective for the entire enterprise. Think from the enterprise perspective. Think about if it is your business. What will be your priorities? You will keep the execution first, the business execution first, then the security. Unless the security is it can give you the a kind of a shocks which you are not able to survive. So think from the business perspective. If you are thinking from business perspective, you can talk from the business perspective to your leadership as well. They will appreciate it. If you only talk about technical language to your leadership, they won't understand you and they won't appreciate it. So getting to this role, learn to think from develop the business acumen and get the insights of everything what happens in the organization. What is happening in the procurement domain, what is happening in the HR domain, what is happening in physical security, facility management. It is all, if you see, is a kind of a different from the IT. Right? Most of the time, what is seen is security people understand how the IT works, but they don't understand how my business is working. Even if you have customer care department, how that customer care department is working, how you can integrate your security, what can be risk there, and how you can integrate your security process into their processes basically. So they need to develop the business perspective and understand all the domains, how they are working, and they have to then think about the controls, what they know, and how they can integrate those controls into the business processes. Business comes first. That they have to understand. That's a very important thing.
So, sir, that was a very interesting perspective, and thank you so much for joining us and giving such practical insights in this session. So, and to everyone watching, if you want to build strong leadership in the cybersecurity and understand how to manage enterprise security programs, make sure to explore the Chief Information Security Officer training and certifications, and we will be sharing the details in the description box below. So thank you so much for watching. We will see you in the next episode of InfoSec Train Tech Talks Decoded. Till then, take care and bye-bye and see you.